for me later than I intended to start, but wow, how about DeMar DeRozan and the Chicago Bulls topping the world champion Milwaukee Bucks in the second game of that NBA playoff series, huh? Not bad going. Okay, you got to admit that was some exciting basketball played tonight. I had to watch it. I had to take it in. Uh, but there's something else that's going on, and it is the 2022 NFL Draft, which is basically it's a week from today. Yeah, Wednesday, Tuesday and Wednesday for me mark the unofficial start of the draft because that's when events happen like the NFL Draft Luncheon and player availability and so on. Okay. That's when all of that begins. And this is my first NFL draft in person since 2019, since Nashville, since I drove 5 hours to and for to be a part of that wonderful celebration and to see my great aunts and uncles and cousins for dinner at the Cracker Barrel in Nashville. It's a pretty good place. They might catch some jokes once in a while, but it's a pretty good place. Okay. Anyway, I am doing something different this time. I've got two live streams going. One of the streams talks about my NFL draft coverage plans. That's this one. The other one, well, excuse me, that's the other one. The other one talks about how the NFL draft compares or will compare to past drafts. It's sort of a forecast, all right? That one I haven't started yet, but guess what? I'm about to flip the switch on it right now and go live. And so, as of right now, we have two streams going. And I can do this because I have a new vlogger kit that's just so cool. I have what you're watching here is me on my new iPhone 13 smartphone Max Pro. And the only part of the vlogger kit I'm not using is this microphone. So I don't need it right here, okay? Um, but, and also it doesn't really fit. I've got to get a special ending for our iPhone, but it's always a good idea to have a mic. I've got one. I got this entire kit. There's a platform that's used that I'm using. There is a there's a whole there's a lighting system that I'm not using, and in all, I bought it for 41 bucks. That's tax included. Yeah, $41. Can you believe that? 41 bucks. 41 bucks. Now, let's get to my coverage preview. This is actually, in a sense, you're kind of getting some, yeah, because particularly when I sit in the media workroom, I'm actually going to go in a two-camera fashion. Smartphone live, and then another live stream. I'm not going in the computer. And the one on the computer, I'll run longer. The smartphone one I'll use for smaller live streams, and then I'll use it for seconds to minutes videos that are then uploaded, and then I dump the video contents because I don't need them on my phone, right? If I don't need them, I can simply download them from YouTube. That's the beauty of it. But my endeavor will be to make, and go back to what I used to do, more video content than any other creator around there. That's what I'm going to do. And that's why, in fact, I've really started doing it already with this constant run of videos, two of these, with the title 2020 NFL Draft Las Vegas in them. I want to give you the full Nelson experience of what it's like to be there. I also want to meet vloggers. I've got an email out to the fellow Steven who runs Not Leaving Las Vegas. We talked about getting together. I hope he's serious about it, and I'm just saying this candidly because, you know, he'll say he wants to reach out, and then he doesn't. Maybe he's just busy. I don't know. But if I say I want to meet you, I'm serious about it. You know, I'm not kidding. Because he seems like a cool guy. We're all vloggers. Why not? And then there's Pompsy. Pompsy, another famous YouTube vlogger out of Las Vegas. What Pompsy and Stephen Campbell have in common, or as he calls himself, Not Leaving Las Vegas, his channel, is that they do these review videos of hotels and experiences. Pompsy does more of the hotel reviews than Stephen does. Stephen does the walk around shows. So does Bro. Forgot his last name. He's Bro Frederick, I think it is. Does that kind of walk around video. Love to meet him as well. There is the couple that that is, oh, their name flew out of my head, but if I type Las Vegas Live, I can find them right off the bat, and I might do that. They seem like a fun bunch, you know? And then there's a couple of other vloggers that whose programs I watch. There's Travel Ruby too. Love to meet her. I'd like to think I've got most of these folks down. There's Jason's vlog in Las Vegas, I believe it is, who does the interesting vlogs about the Las Vegas convention business. So I think I've named some of the main active vloggers. I'm a vlogger. I make video blogs. That's what I'm doing here. I'm making 2 of them, okay? So I figured, you know what? Why not? Why not just, if I'm going to go there, at least put out an overture that, hey, love to meet, love to get together with you. And hopefully we can get together where I'm going to be staying, and I need to reach out to the hotel and see if it's okay to vlog in there. I'm sure it is. Credential media for the NFL draft, right? Why not? I would be surprised if that were not the case, okay? Really surprised. So what am I most looking forward to? I'm looking forward to the spectacle of Las Vegas. And this what gets into how this draft is going to be different from the other NFL drafts from 2014 up to now. And well, the main difference between them is 2014 was in the last one in New York. And you would say, okay, why? What happened with that? Well, what happened really stemmed from a disagreement that the NFL had with the Dolans, who own Madison Square Garden. If you remember or remember reading, early on, the NFL draft was held at Madison Square Garden. And then, starting in 2004, it was to move to Javits. No, excuse me, it was to move to Radio City Music Hall, but that they did that. They had a disagreement regarding the rents and the events. The Dolans are notoriously prickly to deal with, as I understand it, and so that disagreement led to the 2005 NFL draft, which is my first, the one that Aaron Rodgers was drafted, held at the Javits Convention Center on the west side. We call them the back of the Pack Club because they sat in the back of the NFL draft at Javits on the high risers. Okay, that's where I met Mel Kiper. That's also where I met Roy Firestone, who gave me a great photograph with he and the late, rest in peace, Bert Sugar, the boxing journalist who was always known for saying, "Have a cigar, buddy." He gave me 2. I have a famous picture of that. Well, famous for me, okay? It's about people. I know a lot of people, a lot of you are into who's going to get drafted. This happens every year. the draftniks come out. I think the unfortunate aspect of this is that when the NFL draft was only in New York, I think the draftniks could better develop their trade. It was a pre-internet era too, okay? But as the internet grew, draftniks grew as a group and a number. There are draftniks in every city. There are whole networks of draftniks. There are people like my friend Rick Saratella, who took the NFLDraftBible.com out of New York, and now it's owned by Sports Illustrated. Congratulations, Rick. Great guy. But I think what's happened is that, how do I put this together? I think what's happened is that it's harder for any one group of draftniks to really become part of the draft experience. And it's left to mainstream media. Only mainstream media has the budget to be at every draft city and cover it. And then there are a handful of people like myself who specialize in covering the draft, regardless of where it is. And we go there. But what's changed is that the NFL used to have these big media areas, but now, and the media is they're really catered to the draftnik. What do I mean? I mean, there are people who like to sit, myself, including among them, like to sit and record what each team does on every single day of the draft. So when you say, hey, we're going to be in Chicago, folks like me expect you to accommodate us every single day. Well, the NFL did that in Chicago when they had the draft at the Roosevelt University and a number of buildings surrounding it, right there on Michigan Avenue, right across from Grant Park, Buckingham Fountain. Beautiful layout, I know, because I had a window from the Conrad Hilton, and you can see my window view by typing NFL Draft Chicago Zennie62 on YouTube here, okay? It was an incredible time, but something happened along the way that wasn't, to me, the best. And I remember it developed in Chicago because we were in Chicago 2 years. The first year, it was an all-day affair thing. The second year, they cut it off. They cut off the third day. You couldn't go to the arch and sit there. There were like a handful of seats. The first time, what we had to do was lobby the NFL to put a bunch of seats there at the back of the main seats under the proscenium arch, okay? That's what we had to have done. And then after that, they killed it. And day two, what happens is that, and I think it had to do with the matter of budget. Part of the change, I think, was a child of media economics and the amount of staff that you needed to serve people who were there. Press people, media people. And what happened ultimately as well is that you would have a lot of staff people for days 2 and 3, 1 and 2, right? But they all didn't need to be there. And what fluctuates at times, and this could happen this time, is you have a player who is among the 21 that will be there, or players that don't get picked. And that could happen in this draft because you have some quarterbacks there, and there are scenarios where quarterbacks do not come off the board on the first round. There are those scenarios. So I can see a day 2 where, sure enough, we're going back to get an interview with whoever that might be. But that means staff has to stick around. In the early days, the NFL had more staff than they needed on day 2. And I know the bean counters looking at that and saying, hey, do something about this. So they really streamlined it. They really streamlined it. They really have. So now it's strictly really a day 1 affair. Day 2 does get its share of play, if you will, right? But it's a day 1 affair, and in that, let's take a look at where it's going to be. If you're watching with me here, I've got the other stream going, which is this one. I'll show you what I mean, because I'm going to switch it. I'm going to switch screens here. I wish I could switch screens back and forth, but I can't. Anyway, it kind of looks like this, folks. If I pick you up and say, ride with me. Yes, that's my new heater, but I don't need it because it's warm. And then I shift like that. Okay, here. Boom. All right. And get that out of the way. Okay, you can see that? That's the other screen. All right, that's the other screen. And you can get to both of them if you go to the front of Zennie62 YouTube here. Okay. And then that's pretty neat, huh? And then click on that. Right? And what we have are the 2 shows. Okay? The 2 shows. So 2 live streams. Pretty cool that I can do that, right? So anyway, what we're going to do on the other one is we're going to talk about the layout. What to expect at the NFL draft in Las Vegas. And if you're going to be in Las Vegas, hey, let me know. It'd be great to meet you. I'd like to do a meetup for fans that are going to be there and talk NFL draft. If you're from Oakland or you want to talk about Oakland and Las Vegas, and if the A's are going to come, from Oakland to Las Vegas, we can talk about that as well. I have a lot to say about that, as you probably know. But right now, what I want to look at is the layout and what to expect. Okay? They say next is here. As you can see, NFL draft is 28th to 30th. It's free to get in if you're there, right? It's free to get in. And as we go down here, there's an app that you can download. And there are 3 draft weekend locations. There's what's called the Draft Experience, as you can see. And the Draft Experience is behind the High Roller and the Link, and it's adjacent to the Caesars Forum. It is the epicenter of the draft. The red carpet is built on the fountains at Bellagio. And I hope the NFL smiles on me and says, yes, here's your credential for the red carpet, Mr. Abraham. Don't cry. I have covered more red carpets than any other single person or media outlet. And I have the YouTube videos to prove it. I have them. I go back to 2010. I can tell you I did 2010 NFL red carpet. Not 2012, 11, because they were like, well, you did it last year. We're trying to get a rotation. Then I did 2012, 2013, 2014. I did 2019 in Nashville. I did for the Philadelphia one. I did the Philadelphia one as well. How can I forget Carl Weathers? Rocky, right? I did the Chicago one. That was a lot of fun. Tons of fun. I am an NFL draft vlogging veteran. In fact, I go back to the draft as a whole to 2005. That was my first one. And then 2006 was the one where I was the first to cover it with a YouTube channel, Zennie62. Okay. So anyway, but in this case, let's take a closer look or discussion at the draft experience. It says learn more, okay? Um, this is the Vegas version of what has become, if you can see what I have here, this has become the standard for the NFL. It was first rolled out in Chicago, and it hasn't changed much since Chicago. Um, the idea basically is the arch is where the draft itself will locate, that barrow, all right? That's the main stage area. We go and show you the website, okay? And it's the NFL talks about the theater and everything else. The interactive theme park. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, that interactive theme park is in the middle there, and in the green parts are events like the 40-yard dash. That's right. You can run and be timed in the 40-yard dash. There are pro shops all over the place. There is an event that I have to admit I didn't think was going to be all that popular, and I'm really shocked that every single year it really is that popular, and it's the ring show. Yeah, you can go and see the Super Bowl rings and Vince Lombardi trophies. They did this, the NFL did, at the 2015-2016 Super Bowl, which was in the San Francisco Bay Area, which I was a major volunteer in. And I remember thinking, no one's going to line up to see that. Wrong. People love to see the trophies. The NFL is powerful on a primal level. And when I say primal, I don't mean because it ignites any kind of primitive urges, but, well, in a sense, yeah, I do mean that. The NFL is the best reality TV of the day. And so because it's the best reality TV of the day, it presents you with a story. And then people want to glom on to little parts of that story. Not bad. And that distinction carries through to today. So anyway, you got the draft experience. And you can see I discussed the overhead and what that looks like. The NFL doesn't have any photographs that are better than this one. Let me see if I can scroll down. It just tells you what's to expect there. What to expect there is the obvious. The FedEx Air Challenge, Play 60 Zone, the Draft Tavern. The Draft Tavern's a lot of fun. Yes, they pour beer there. Yes, it's a fun experience for people who just want to hang out and get to know each other. It's fun to watch people in their different jerseys respond to their favorite players. And there are plenty of experiences involving the different teams. That's a cool thing. So there's the draft experience. And then we have the red carpet that I discussed before, where you can find out which prospects are being interviewed. And let me see how the website looks for that, see if there's anything that's better that I can... and there's not. I'm looking for that big picture that I can show you. That's cooler than, cooler than what you're seeing right there, right? On the other page. And what you see is that arch is that's the standard design for the NFL. This is the first time that anything like this has ever been built for the NFL draft. This floating barge concept. All right, it's pretty cool. Okay, they've never done before. I can't wait to see how it comes off and how people respond to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to experience. Now, this draft red carpet was different from others, not just because it was on the water, but each red carpet has responded to the particular situation it was in. Philadelphia was the most fun because of Philadelphia, they had the red carpet laid out in front of a media pavilion, which is really quite convenient. And you can walk right out from the media pavilion and then go to your spot on the red carpet and go back and forth. So it was great, particularly if you were, the old-fashioned beat reporter type and you were doing the ticklies on the keyboard, right? And you can come back out, get your microphone interview, and then go back in, back and forth. Um, and it was right in front of the Philadelphia Library on the Rocky steps with Rocky there like that and everything else. Okay, it was cool. It had that Philadelphia flavor, that Philadelphia freedom flavor about it. It's the only time I've been to Philadelphia. I'm dying to go back. Love to go to a Sixers game. They're in the playoffs. Love to go to an Eagles game. All right. I'd love to have another authentic cheesesteak, but with more onions and hot sauce. And please don't tell me that you don't put hot sauce on your cheesesteak, because I do. Anyway, all right. But Philadelphia did the red carpet really well. It was a long walk. Oh my Lord, that was a long walk. But all in all, the NFL pulled it off. The one that was more fun in total, even though the red carpet layout was a little ginky, was Nashville. What I loved about Nashville, and the reason I say it was ginky is because unlike Philadelphia, where the media pavilion was right next to the red carpet, in Nashville, you had to walk a full block, the length of an equivalent city block, from the red carpet, past the stage, to the media pavilion, and back and forth. So you needed to plan basically to use the bathroom and do one trip and get it all out there, and then be prepared to stand there for a couple of hours and wait for the players to come in, interview people, celebrities too. That's how I met Tim McGraw, and that was a heck of a lot of fun. I want to thank Jocelyn Moore, who was the NFL Director of Communications at the time, for, frankly speaking, really taking care of me, and her crew did that, along with Brian McCarthy, and who's still with the NFL, and others. But that was a magical moment in Nashville, because the NFL, under the direction for the Super Bowl of Mr. Super Bowl, NFL special events head Peter O'Reilly, took over 32 city blocks in Nashville. All right? They had that stuff controlled. I mean, it was amazing. For the entire NFL draft period, there was only one arrest. And you could see people going to parties, drunk, walking, staggering, everything. No problems. 32 city blocks. The NFL controlled not basically two sides of the river in Nashville where downtown was located. The downtown side and the Nissan Stadium side. It was impressive what they had done. And it speaks to how the league, when it puts together this, it's something about it that brings out the best in us. I mean, I can't quite explain it, but it really does do just that. It was incredible. I hats off to Nashville. I think how Las Vegas will be different is that, first of all, these NFL drafts they tend to invite or draw the locals. Okay, like here's the draft theater I was talking about. This is the Arch, all right, and the tourism levels for the NFL drafts don't tend to be great. The reasons are basically these. You only have, like right now, 21 college players coming. There is no direct way to meet a large number of players that are in college. If it were 100 players, I think it would be different. Let's say if the NFL had all the college all-stars from that year, right? Different story. But this is different. When you consider the players as well, we have a tradition now where that is not as respected. A lot of the players that say they're going to come, they don't come anymore. In 2015, the two top quarterbacks were Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. Neither came to Chicago. Jameis was in Bessemer, Alabama. Marcus was, I believe, in Hawaii, both having their own private parties. So I got a chance to meet Deshaun Watson, though. I interviewed him. He was in Philadelphia. Well, my point is that it's not by design, because of its design, the kind of event that draws a lot of people from out of town. So you're not going to get a huge influx of tourists for the NFL draft. You're going to get some. And you're going to get some, and you're going to get a healthy number because it's new and it's Las Vegas, and people are going to want to see how Las Vegas does it. Okay? But the people who are going to be most pleased with the NFL draft are the locals who are fans of NFL teams, who always wanted to see their team represented in some kind of way. Be able to get their team's jersey, be able to cheer on their team's draft pick, that sort of thing. So really, the NFL draft is going to turn out to be for the Las Vegas local. The hotels will get some bump, but they're not going to get the bump that they're looking for. Some, but it's not like, I'm sorry, it's just not like having a playoff game. But here is where Las Vegas will prevail, and is already prevailing. The media exposure. And that's valuable for future tourism. There's a study recently released that shows a direct correlation between cities on television and events and future tourism volume in dollars. That's known. That's known, okay? So make no mistake about it. This NFL draft will bring millions of dollars in exposure to Las Vegas that it didn't enjoy before. And it's Las Vegas, okay? It's Las Vegas. So how about that? So I'm interested to see how Las Vegas responds to it. I want to see how the locals respond to the draft theater. It's free. And the people will come, the locals will come from the surrounding state. So it won't just be Las Vegas or Henderson or Summerlin. People from Reno will drive in. People from various parts of Nevada who are NFL fans and want to take their kids to see something new and different. So it's going to be, I can't wait. So my coverage will start, well, really technically it's already started. I'm going to do a lot of vlogs. I'm going to be talking about a lot of draft related stuff. Some stuff like food, restaurants, people. Might stop somebody on the street, ask them a question. I'm going to make a lot of content. And I'm already making more content than usual. And I will ramp it up. I'm getting back into the swing of this, okay? Particularly with this new approach. And I invite you, if you want to make a comment, send in a video comment. My email is Zennie, Zennie at Zennie62.com. Send me a 30-second, maybe as great as 60-second clip. Horizontal, I prefer, not vertical. Of your thoughts on the draft. Players, who your team is, or is not, why. We'll get you on. All right. It's 1:41 a.m. or 10:41 in the Pacific. In Vegas. Live long and prosper. Subscribe to Zennie62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnowblog.com. We'll see you. Thanks for visiting. That ends this broadcast. Broadcast is over down there. This broadcast is over here. We'll see you. And thumbs up, please.